Welcome in to Vol Basketball Fever, your number one source for discussions about the Vols and Lady Vols basketball programs. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video, and check in every week for new episodes of the show, video breakdowns, and more. Now, on with the episode. Hello everyone, and welcome in to another episode of Vol Basketball Fever. I am Nathanael Rutherford, and I am joined by a special guest for a special interview again here on the show. Head coach Joe Lods is the head coach of the boys varsity basketball at Cardinal Hayes High School, where one Tobe Awaka played and is now a Tennessee Volunteer. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
I don't know if I'd call myself a special guest, maybe just a guest. So,
now you're special.
I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's not every day we get to have an esteemed high school head coach on here, so I'm very, very happy to have you on here. You and I were chatting before we hit recording. I can already tell this is going to be a fun interview. I like your personality, and I think our viewers and listeners are too. So again, if you're all new here, thank you for tuning in. If you're returning, again, thank you for returning. Subscribe to the show while you're here and give this video a like and share it around. I think you guys are going to like what Coach Lods has to say about Tobe Awaka. Well, Coach, let's just go ahead and get into it here. I watched a lot of his film. I've seen just some of the stat lines and stuff too. You and I were talking a little bit beforehand, but I want the listeners and viewers to know, why was Tobe Awaka so under-recruited and didn't really kind of get the interest until late? He picked up the offer from Tennessee, I believe, in April, and that kind of went on a run of him. He got offered from Pitt, from Maryland, from St. John's. A lot of those schools up there knew you guys in Cardinal Hayes, and obviously Tennessee here in the South, not so much. But what led to him kind of the late interest and his recruitment not really blowing up until, I guess, late spring, early summer of this year?
Well, like I said, just circumstance, right? COVID hurt him, the portal, and the fact that he's 6'8", 6'9", he's not 6'11". So some of the coaches would say, is he a 4-man? Is he a 5-man? What is he in college? So he was sort of like a tweener, they would say. Is he a 4 or was he a 5? And I would tell coaches, he's the toughest guy in the gym. That's what he is. Don't worry about it. He's going to get 12 rebounds a game for you, no matter what conference he plays in. So he sort of got caught in the middle. But I'm glad that the legendary Rick Barnes saw him and realized that he'd be a perfect volunteer.
So if those who may not know a whole lot about Tobe, you just look at his stats and you realize he is a double-double machine. I'm going to ask you his offense in a second, but, what makes him so good at rebounding? It's not just his height. You can be a, 6'10", 7-foot guy and not bring down a bunch of rebounds. So what is it that makes Tobe such a prolific rebounder?
Tobe is like, he's the Incredible Hulk. He's in great physical condition. He's like Evander Holyfield. I would come into the gym. I'd come into the office, and he's jumping up and down on the table like 100 times in a row, just working on his cardio. Like before he ate his lunch, like he's a maniacal rebounder. He's the best conditioned athlete I've ever been around. When he's done playing basketball, he's going to run the marathon. He's going to enter like Mr. Universe contests. He's just a relentless rebounder. He chases every ball, regardless of score, time, anything. He only has one speed. That's why he's so good, because he doesn't take any play off, and at the end of the game you're like, wow, he had 17 rebounds. I mean, he's going to be a force in the SEC. I don't care what league he plays in. You're going to see he's going to be a crowd favorite.
Was that something that he when you first started coaching him, is that something he just had already, or is that something that was kind of taught into him? I imagine it seems like it's a personality trait that he just has had.
As much as I like to say it's coaching, it really was not coaching, because, he came to us freshman year. He had a 99 average in the classroom. He took all our toughest classes. He was never late for practice. He commuted 90 miles each way to school every day, and he was never late for school. And that's not even coach talk. He was never late for school for 4 years, and he had a 90-mile commute each way.
Wow.
Imagine that. I don't remember the kid missing a day. I mean, he never missed a practice. He's from another planet. I don't know why. I credit his parents. I remember he came to our camp in 8th grade, and he was like 6'2", and we were saying, wow, this kid plays really hard. And then over the summer he came back, he was 6'4", and then Sophomore year was 6'9" with size 16 shoes, and I told his father, "You're not going to have to pay for college, that's for sure."
No, definitely not. That you're talking about his mentality and the commute and stuff reminds me so much. Tennessee has a kid on the roster right now from the Bronx, Zakai Zeigler, and actually those two, Tobe and Zakai, played on the same AAU team. I don't think they played together because Zakai played last year, and I can't remember if Tobe played any before this year or not. But Zakai had a similar story where he would commute, hours to just play basketball, just to go out and do that and try to get, keep honing his craft. And he's a 5'9" point guard who was, more or less kind of one of the heart and souls of the team for Tennessee this past year, and is going to be one of the heart and souls for the team this year. So it sounds like to me, Zakai and Tobe are going to get along really well. Both kids from New York and both kids with just relentless work ethics, it sounds like.
He told me that when he went up to visit, that Zakai was his tour guide, and they spoke a lot. And I know they played for the same AU program. The AU guys, they take the credit because they're around the kids 1 month. But, the high school kids the high school coaches deal with all the nonsense for the other 11 months. In July, they go to these big tournaments and they take pictures, and, the AU coaches talk about how they're their kids, right? But in December, when they need lunch money, it's the high school coach's kid. Believe me, I'll tell you that. So they did play. I know they played on the same program, and they play hard, and they come from a real quality program. And, you could see a guy like Tobe, he's going to set, he's going to play pick and pop with Zakai, I'm sure, and Tobe will pop, and they're going to say, this big guy can't shoot, and then he's going to start to shoot the three, and they're going to say, wow, he's got a nice touch, because he's going to be in the gym all night long. And you're going to see how talented he is. He's a really good get for you guys.
Yeah, that was my next follow-up question, was about his offense, and you kind of already hinted at there. He can do some pick and pop. It sounds like he's been working on his jump shot and from hitting from distance too. So I was going to say, how advanced is he offensively? How did you guys use him on offense?
Well, how we use him on offense, I told him when you're near the rim, just grab the ball and dunk it on somebody's head as often as you can. That was my elaborate offensive scheme. Throw the ball to the biggest guy and tell him to dunk it. But in actuality, he's developed his game from sort of like a robotic big guy. He would talk about how the things that he got away with in the Catholic League, he's not going to be able to get away with in college. So he sort of saw the future, and he developed his game. He'll turn and face. He's got all sorts of different post moves, a hook, up and under, all types of things he has. He'll score around the basket, and he'll pick and pop. He'll score in a variety of different ways for you guys. I just wonder, as a freshman, I've seen a bunch of Tennessee basketball over the years just in the tournament. I wonder how Coach Barnes, how he feels about playing younger kids. I mean, is it mostly senior and junior laden, or does he play the freshmen? I don't know what the roster, how it is constructed right now. Maybe you could tell me that.
Yeah, I was going to say that it will be interesting to see. I've kind of thought all along that this would be more of a developmental year for Tobe, but the way you've described him, and just from watching his film and stuff, I almost think he's going to see the court regardless. Tennessee has, I would say, they have two veterans at the 4 and 5, and they have a couple youngsters, or I guess really one younger guy who's really going to be a post, and a guy who's Julian Phillips, who you may have heard of in the 22 class as well, who is listed as a kind of a forward, but he's going to be more of a wing, I think, for Tennessee. So I think there's opportunity there for Tobe to come in and get some playing time as a true freshman. But I truly think maybe next year after next is when he's going to really shine. But I think watching his film and the way you've described him too, I think he is that really perfect type of 4, slightly undersized 5 that Rick Barnes loves to have in his system, both offensively. And my next question for you was defense, because I know that's a huge point that Rick Barnes and his staff really drive home is defense. They've had one of the best defenses in the SEC and in the country, over the last couple of years in college basketball. Defensively, how did you guys use Tobe? And I imagine that he was probably not a bad rim protector as the guy you mentioned as good as he is rebounding and getting to the ball. I imagine he was pretty good at blocking in the paint too.
He was an excellent rim protector. The best thing about him really was his motor. Guys would be going for layups, and he's getting chased down blocks and pinning him to the backboard. My honest opinion, and this is what I told Tobe, is you'll go in there and maybe the staff will have some preconceived notions of guys who are going to play over you and see him as sort of a role player. But when they see his contribution on the court, I'm telling you, it's going to be a different thing because Coach Barnes is going to say, when this kid is in the game, we play better defense. When this kid's in the game, we seem to get transition buckets. And, he's going to look at it, and I don't know how analytic-driven Tennessee basketball is, but his plus-minus is going to be off the charts. And Coach Barnes is going to really realize that he is really bringing a lot to the table, and they're going to find creative ways to play him. And they're going to find out that he can guard the opposing team's three-man. I would expect Tennessee to play some big lineups with Tobe at the three because he'll guard the opposing team's three because how well he moves his feet and because of what good shape he's in. He's not like your plodding big man who gets put back layups. He's a kid who really, really moves his feet well and guards on the perimeter. And I think they're going to figure that out pretty quickly. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's not going to say a word in the huddle. He's not going to say a word in the locker room. He doesn't speak much. You're going to interview him and you're going to get a lot of one-word answers from him. But his play will do the talking and he'll lead the team in GPA.
Personality-wise, he doesn't sound like Zakai, but what you're describing kind of, if what you're saying is comes true, your predictions, he's going to be like what, basically the 6'8" version of what Zakai Zeigler was, because Zeigler coming in last year, I think a lot of people weren't expecting him to do much. We're expecting maybe even a redshirt year from him. And then the first day he was at practice for Tennessee, first week really, the reports were already coming out that Barnes and the staff loved his work ethic, loved what he was doing, and he played early on, and they just kept playing him more and more because, like you said, they realized the more he was out there, the better the team was. Defensively, better team was just overall. And it sounds like, man, it's just something special about those kids from New York, because Tennessee's had a few really good guys from New York over the years. Bernard King, one of the best, in the SEC ever came from New York. So Tennessee has had a pretty good luck with some New York players over the years.
Sure, including Tobe Awaka.
Yep, I hope so.
You're gonna be watching practice early on. Someone's gonna go flying past you into the seats in an orange jersey, and you're like, you know what? His high school coach told me all about this guy. He never ended a high school season with a loss.
Wow.
His Cardinal Hayes, we didn't have any freshman championships in like the 80-year history of the school. He came in and they went 30-0 on the freshman team. Sophomore year, we went to the semifinals. We were still alive when the season ended by COVID. And then junior and senior year, he won the championship for us, and he was Gatorade Player of the Year. So he's just programmed to win at all costs. And I'd be there, your typical high school frantic coach, and Tobe would put his arm around me and he would tell me, calm down, we're going to win. Like he wasn't a really rah-rah kind of guy. He was very matter of fact. He's a serious kid. He's very mature beyond his years, and he's really professional. And Coach Barnes is going to think he's 23 years old when he's actually 18 years old. And he's just as highly. We send kids to all kinds of different conferences. We've had, so many guys in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody we can recommend more highly in my 20 years at Cardinal Hayes than Tobe Awaka.
Wow.
I put my career name, whatever decent reputation that I might have, I put my reputation on that kid.
Wow, Coach, that's saying something, because you said you've been there for 20 years or longer. So, I mean, that says a lot right there. And I know I've heard of Cardinal Hayes before, so I know you guys have had, as you mentioned, plenty of players go into college and play the NCAA tournament and everything. So, yeah, that means a lot. It means a lot. You already kind of touched on this, and I had it written down, and I thought that's kind of funny you mentioned it. I have written down, how much has he grown, both physically and game-wise, since you first coached him? You mentioned he was, 6'2" when he was an 8th grader, and then now all of a sudden he's, 6'8", 6'9". So I know how much he's kind of grown from, a physical standpoint, but from, on the court, how much did he really grow and evolve as a player in the 4 years he was at Cardinal Hayes?
Well, the one thing he figured out pretty early on is it's only going to help him to get in the best shape of his life. And, you'll see him early on, or if they play shirts and skins or whatever, where he takes his shirt off, he's in pristine condition. If he's 2% body fat, he's boxed up. I mean, he is. I mean, he's a sculpture. I mean, he's in as ideal physical condition, and he would work on it. He'd work tirelessly on it. Like I tell him, take a break, go get a drink of water. You get a drink while he's waiting to come back in the game. He'd be doing push-ups and sit-ups. I mean, he's just something different than I've ever seen. He grew 6 or 7 inches. I feel like his feet are still getting bigger. I think the last I saw it was like 16 and a half. He became more communicative. You could talk to him a little more as he got older. I think he's just smart. He was just too smart for me. Like I couldn't talk to him about AP biology and physics and advanced AP calculus. I couldn't help him with his homework. I think so. I think in the right. I want to see how he is, honestly. And I told him with college level coaches, with a great coach like Rick Barnes, with a full-time strength coach, just college level people around him that could really help him. I think he'll just continue to improve.
Yeah, he had offers from Ivy League schools, right? Like he had several Ivy League offers, didn't he?
The Ivy League wanted him, in his mind though, he didn't want the Ivy League. He just didn't think it was good enough basketball. He said, I don't want to play some of the lower level Ivy League games. I want to be on the big stage. He said, I want to compete on the highest stage against the best players. He says, I know I can do it. So guys would come in from different leagues and offer him, and he was very polite. He would say, thank you very much for the offer. And he'd come back to me and he said, no, I'm waiting for the SEC. He wanted the SEC or the ACC. It's the only thing he talked about. So when Tennessee reached out to him, he told me I got what I wanted.
Yeah, he certainly did. I was going to say that was my next follow-up question too, was about Tennessee when they offered. I know they offered in April. Was that the first when you heard from them? And how much have you had a chance to talk with the coaches? And what do you think of Rick Barnes or anyone else you talked with on Tennessee staff?
Not very much. I don't think. I think when you're doing it as long as Coach Barnes, you don't need to talk to a high school coach about what you see. And then I guess when they saw his transcript and they saw the straight hundreds down the line, they realized he was a quality kid. So there's not really much from me to add to the Tennessee staff. I think right away when he gets there, they're going to see the kind of kid he is. I know Maryland came in and they recruited him hard at the end. Pittsburgh came in, they were in the gym all the time. Pittsburgh wanted him, Maryland wanted him. A lot of the big name schools came in late, but I told them if it was my son, I'd love him to play for Rick Barnes. Because Rick Barnes is big time. He really is. I mean, I don't know him. I love a chance to really. I love to go watch Tennessee practice and just sit and talk with him and pick his brain and talk basketball. If I asked him that today, he'd probably say no. A year from now, after Tobe has a year under his belt, he's going to invite me down. And he's going to ask me, is there anybody else like him?
This guy's to be the secret. It's like, where'd you find this kid? What'd you do with this kid? I need more guys like him. That's what he's going to do.
Right now at Cardinal Hayes, we have the number 1 ranked rising junior. Right. Well, he was a sophomore last year. He's going to be a junior named Ian Jackson. He's the number 1 ranked kid in the country. So, and a shooting guard named Elijah Moore, who's somewhere on that list, not too far behind. So I'm hoping that Coach Barnes will take the trip down to the Bronx. I don't know if he's a Yankee fan, but we're right around the corner from Yankee Stadium. I don't know if he's a baseball guy, but I tell you, if he comes down, he's going to see some good basketball. Not that well coached, but a lot of talent in the gym.
He travels a lot to go watch kids play, so I imagine he wouldn't mind making the trip up there to do that. So yeah, I think I can't speak for his baseball. I cannot recall if he's a big baseball fan or not. I imagine he probably is. He seems like a guy who just likes basketball, but also does like sports in general.
Please invite him for me. Please invite him to Cardinal Hayes when you talk to him.
Yeah, I don't get to talk to him too much, but I'll pass it on the wire and say, hey, you need to go up there and Coach Lods wants to hang out with you and talk with you for a bit, not just about Tobe Awaka, but about basketball in general. Sure. So you've already talked about Tobe kind of on the court, his demeanor. him in the classroom as well. But I'm curious too. I always like to try to find out about the players, as they are as people, because they're more than just players. They're human beings. So I'm curious, personality wise, you kind of hinted at her, but is what about off the court, out of the classroom? How much you really interact with him a ton outside of school or anything like that. But what kind of person is he? Because it seems like he's very quiet, but a lot of times those quiet kids have some really cool and fun personalities and really interesting things they like to do.
I know he's close with his family. He's got brothers and sisters, younger brothers and sisters who play basketball. I remember when I met his dad, and I'm only about 6 feet, and I met his dad, and I said, wow, this was early on. I wonder if he's going to grow. And then I met his mom. His mom was tall. And I said, oh, okay, this is where the kid gets the height from. But the dad was very serious guy, very regimented. I remember talking to the dad a few times when, he got a 97 on a test, and the dad would tell me, oh, this is unacceptable. The dad pushes him. He's very driven, and he comes from a very strict household. I know that. Very serious, strict household. And I don't know how. I honestly, I don't know how he made that commute every day that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And just never miss a day and be committed to it, because it was really something. It was really something. I give the kid so much credit. And if you talk to him, you can get on. He'll joke around. You get him to laugh, but we would go on trips. Like we took a trip to South Carolina. We won a tournament in South Carolina, and he kicked out his roommate because he was in some kind of chess tournament, online chess tournament. The kid was making noise behind him, like eating potato chips. And he told the kid, get out. I'm in a chess. And the kid was walking in the hallway. I told him, what are you doing? He said, Tobe kicked me out because he's in a chess tournament. I don't think that's ever happened to me in my history of coaching. The roommate kicked out because of the chess tournament.
I've already really liked this kid. He reminds me a lot of, I mentioned Zakai, who's from New York, but he also reminds me of Grant Williams, because Grant was a super smart guy who had offers from, interest from Ivy League when he was coming out of high school. He loved Catan. He loved playing chess. Like he still, even though now he's at the NBA with the Celtics, like he's still known for just being a nerd and being, a really smart guy. So and again, an incredible work ethic, a guy who by the time he left Tennessee was also a very, muscly and ripped, and as you kind of mentioned, Tobe is. So it sounds to me like it just everything you've described about him, Coach, is that he seems to me to be a prototypical Rick Barnes player, a guy who is smart, who has an incredible work ethic, never going to give up on the court. You mentioned before recording here that he's gonna be a guy that's gonna be diving on the floor even if you're winning by 30 points. That to me sounds like Grant Williams. It sounds like Josiah-Jordan James, who's on the team. It sounds like Zakai Zeigler. It sounds like the guys who've had some of the most success in Rick Barnes' system and his time at Tennessee. So, Coach, before I get you out of here, I really appreciate you taking time. I know you've got stuff you got to do, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. Is there anything else about Tobe that you want to mention of all fans, whether it's a memory you've had of him, experience you had, something that really stood out to you, or just anything about Tobe that you want to mention here?
I would tell the Vol fans that we love him in the Bronx, and he is. I would tell the Vol fans he's gonna wear his heart on his sleeve. He's gonna. I really think the kid is gonna be a fan favorite. I would be surprised if he's anything but. I think they're gonna take a quick liking to him. And I just hope he's greeted warmly down there. It's where he wanted to go. It wasn't like a fallback school. It's what he wanted. And so many of these kids go to fallback schools and whatnot. This is what he wants. He wants to be there. He's excited about it. And he's approachable. I hope that the Tennessee community, when they see him, they go up to him and they welcome him, because he's as nice a kid as you could be around. He really is. And if you go up to him and you say, hey, Tobe, I'm, whomever, welcome to Tennessee, you're going to be his friend, because he's going to remember you. And next time you walk past him, he's going to say, hey, Billy, how you doing? It's me, Tobe. He's really engaging, nice kid. And you know. I was so lucky to coach a kid for 4 years. I can't fill the void. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to go. I spoke to my boss earlier. I can't. He says, how's the team going to be next year? I don't even want to think about it without Tobe in the middle. It's a scary thought to me, but I really look forward to watching them in the NCAA tournament next year.
Well, Coach, you're going to have to come down to Knoxville sometime and watch him play. And in fact, Tennessee is going to be up in Brooklyn for one of the early season tournaments sometime, I think I want to say this upcoming year. It's either this year or in 2023 when they're going to be up in Brooklyn again for a tournament. So they'll be up your way sometime soon. And if again, you get to come down to Knoxville to watch a game or two as well.
Well, that's great news. I had no idea they were going to be in Brooklyn, but by then Tobe will be doing so well, he won't even take my call probably. I say, Tobe, it's me, Coach. They say, who? No, I'm done with you, Coach. They didn't make the comparison to him. They told him that they see him in the Grant Williams kind of role.
Mm-hmm.
He told me that they mentioned that they see him as in that kind of form. So if Tobe doesn't become what they want him to become, it won't be from lack of effort. And he's not the kind of kid, despite the fact that he traveled so far, he had countless opportunities. Every prep school in America called him. And he told me, Cardinal Hayes took a shot on me when I was 6'2". I won't leave you, Coach. He said, don't ask me again. You don't have to worry about if I'm going anywhere. I'm going to be here with you for 4 years. And I was blown away by that. And I get choked up just talking about it. He's an awesome kid. I never worried about it. I'm telling you, a year from now, he's not going to be in the portal. He's going to be a 4-year volunteer, and he's going to get 1,000 and 1,000 for you guys. 1,000 points, 1,000 rebound volunteer, straight out of the Bronx. Tell Coach Barnes. Tell him I said you're welcome.
I was already pretty excited about Tobe coming on the team, and you've done nothing to quell that excitement. And by the way, Coach, mark your calendar. December 11th this year, the Hall of Fame Invitational. Tennessee's facing Maryland up in the Barclays Center. So that's December 11th.
Wow, against Maryland. Maryland was his number 2 choice.
There you go. It's going to be the Tobe Awaka Classic, actually, is what that's going to be.
Wow, I'm looking forward to it. You know what? I'm going to take the team. December 11th at the Barclays. Wow, that's going to be great. That's really good news. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, it's been an absolute joy having you on here. One of my favorite coach interviews I've ever done. I love your personality. I loved everything you had to say. So thank you so much. I'm sure Vol fans loved what you had to say about Tobe, and hopefully everything you said comes true, because I think he's a very hard worker and is a perfect fit in this system for Rick Barnes in Tennessee as well.
Listen, please keep in touch with me. When the kid starts doing really well, please give me a call back. And I want to get on with you guys and tell you I tell you so, because that's what's going to happen. So please keep me in mind. And, thank you guys so much. And please, again, greet the kid with open arms. He loves being there. He's so excited about it. He can't wait to be there. And he's a hell of a nice kid.
Well, Coach, it's been an absolute pleasure. And all the listeners and viewers out there, thank you all so much for listening and watching this along wherever you are. Really appreciate it. Share this around. Let everybody know about Tobe Awaka. And again, maybe Coach will be seeing you in December and up in the Barclays. And hopefully you and the team can make it up there. But thank you so much. Again, everyone, give this video a like and share it around, and subscribe to the channel and to the podcast if you haven't. Signing off for Coach Joe Lods, I am Nathaniel, and this has been another episode of Vol Basketball Fever. Thank you for watching Vol Basketball Fever. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel while you're here. We appreciate all your support, and the show wouldn't be possible without Vol fans like you. Thank you.